All right, this dude Fittich is actually built different. Like
I'm built different.
he is the most hyped thing so far to come into Four Nights of Apocalypse. Like this dude is actually a beast. Like the other Dark Talismans are a little goofy. I'm not gonna lie. Like some of, not even some. The other three legitimately just are goofy. But Fittich, he ties all of this together. He's playing no games. Fittich is the real deal. Chapter 47, Final Blow of Desperation. I like this chapter a lot. It picked up right where we had ended off at the last chapter with Fittich grabbing the sword from Percival, and I'm saying, like, a couple panels into this chapter goes immediately for Percival's head, like tries to cut his head, like not necessarily off but in half. And this goes to the durability. Varghese helmet, that helmet is durable, because I have no doubt that Fittich probably swung as hard as he could, but it didn't cut through said helmet. Now I know Percival did trip, so he didn't take the full force of it, because if you're already falling back and someone's hitting you that way, then you kind of just more go that way. It's not like it was pure resistance against it. So he didn't necessarily take the full brunt of Fittich's attack, but he did take a lot of damage from it. Still, like, to the point where Nansen's was like, yeah, he has a light concussion, and if he didn't fall back, he would have lost his head. So Fittich out the gate not playing any games. But then what shocked me the most was Donnie, since his revelation already is like a million times better than he was, because he uses his telekinesis, takes the sword away, and then just hurls Fittich like mad far. He does the same thing he did to a door knock, just throws him. And it was just like, okay, Donnie, like, out the gate, like, be like contributing, like he's the only one that kind of did something right there. Like he reacted immediately. Like Donnie, new awakened Donnie, infinitely better already. And then this next part of the chapter is like,
This is exactly, I don't mean to sound like Cat Williams, but this is exactly what I've been waiting for.
legitimately my favorite part of the chapter. So we do get his full, not, I guess it wouldn't be his full name because we don't know what his full name is, but we do get his, I guess, I think it's called a epithet, and he's Thunderclap Fittich. So I'm not for sure if that relates to him having like a thunder or lightning based ability, or maybe it's a speed thing. I kind of think it's maybe a speed based ability, but we do get that he is Thunderclap Fittich. And in this moment he's picking up 2 rocks, and like I said earlier, this is my favorite part of the chapter, absolute favorite part. But he's picking up these 2 rocks, and he throws the first one at Donnie, and Donnie stops it. And this was kind of like to gauge the range of Donnie's ability. And then he throws the like second one like full speed and just cracks Donnie in the head, and figures out just off of that and what Donnie did previously the limitations of Donnie's ability. Like, oh, we realized that, okay, he can only go 25 feet and he can only stop what he can see. So it's almost like he already confirmed that Donnie doesn't have any automatic defenses, and Donnie has to be able to react to what he can do. Like he took all of the guesswork out of potentially putting himself in a dangerous scenario just off of throwing 2 rocks. Like Fittich is immensely smarter and way more skilled than the rest of the Dark Talismans. Like, to the point to where if they sent 4 people that were as smart as him, we wouldn't even be right here right now. Fittich is already looking amazing. And like when I say he cracked Donnie with that rock, like Donnie is on the ground, like bleeding out of his forehead. Like he blasted Donnie with that rock, like square dead center. He blasted him dead center in his forehead. And then from here we get a little bit more into his character a little bit, where he was like, at first he wanted them to just be taken out precisely and painlessly, but now he wants them to suffer a bit for kind of like selling the name of the Dark Talismans essentially. And we kind of like, from this we kind of get to see he's definitely a twisted individual, a little morbid for some reason. It's kind of funny, but like when I imagine if this was animated, I kind of picture him having like Madara's voice, or one of those type of voices, like a lot deeper and like just darker, kind of like one of those deeper and darker tone voices. That's kind of, I don't know, that's just like something that popped in my head when I was reading it. Like he has that kind of vibe to him. And then this moment is cool too, where he like raises his hand, and then like Elgin just like appears, which I don't even know how you train somebody to do that. It's not like he could hear him raise his hand. Like, I don't know. It was just cool though. But from there, this kind of is one of those things where it does immediately go back to bite Percival in the butt, where Sin was right. He should have gotten rid of Elgin completely, because then he wouldn't be able to show back up in this exact scenario. And then we get Fittich pulling out a incantation orb, and similar to back with Jericho and Gila way back when we first seen them use, he throws it down, and he completely heals and rejuvenates the other 3 members of the Dark Talisman. So now they are back at full strength. All of their efforts to split them up and have all these different plans and strategies and people overcoming the limits and all that are kind of for naught. seeing as even Sin did say, as Donnie said, that they have no chance in winning in a flat out 4v4. Like, they just have no chance. So this leads everybody to start having their like moments. And I really like this part because even though they do eventually like find their hope in Percival, they have that realization and they have that moment of despair. Like, it felt very like real or realistic for, I guess, like it made their characters feel more human in a sense, instead of being like, we'll never give up no matter what. But it had that moment of despair first, which I think is very appropriate. Like, it makes sense. Like, you know, everything they did was essentially for naught. So they had their moments where, oh, my journey's over, I'll never become a knight, or oh, I'll never become a master like apothecary, like that kind of thing. I'm glad that they had that moment first before they just immediately went to Percival. And the moment with Percival not despairing, is, it doesn't bother me that much. He is the main character. This is kind of like a thing that main characters do. But Percival never giving up hope and getting, you know, the power boost from that, and then, you know, all his friends' hope like pouring into him and him getting the power boost for that. Normally, I am not a big fan of the power of friendship, just in its very general sense. I feel like it's used a lot, and I feel like it can be misused very easily. However, if it's kind of directly written into the series, like how it is for Four Nights of Apocalypse, then I don't hate it as much. Similar with the other series I cover, Black Clover. I don't know how many of you are familiar with it, but you know, when you're in a pinch, you get a new spell. So it's like it's one of the things where that trope doesn't bother me because it is written into the story. So that's how I feel about Hope right now, is that it was written into the story, so it doesn't bother me that much. Now, the one thing I will say with Percival's ability is I do wish we had more information on it, because I personally am not for sure, is this like a power that is based off of his hero type magic itself, or if it is based off of his helmet artifact, or maybe the cape, or like, because I know like his helmet and his cape are both magical, they have magical properties, they are magical items, as was stated well before. Back when Nansen's burned his old clothes, he saved those because they were magical. So I'm wondering, is that magic connected to one of those like pieces of like clothing, because we do see his cape does get larger when he uses magic sometimes. So it's like, it's just there's a lot of gray involved with Hope, so I do hope that we get that explained more. But at the moment, it doesn't bother me that much. Now, if you have any information about it, or if you have your own opinions or theories on it, please drop those down below in the comments, because I would love to know what other people in the fandom kind of think about it. But moving on from that, we do have, like, you know, as I said, all of them pouring their hope into him, and even Sin was the one that kind of riled them up to do that. Now with Sin, it's interesting because on one hand, I do believe that Sin truly does have hope in Percival, but on the other hand, Sin understands how Percival's ability works. So I feel like Sin may have been putting on more than he actually does. That's just like something that I think, that's like a little side thing. But from there, we do have, you know, the magic power swelling in Percival. He makes a gigantic magic blade coming off of the dragon relief sword, and he's like, swing. We need a better name for that, like the dragon handle sword. I feel like that's long too. I feel like they should have a name for that sword to make it shorter. But we get this long energy blade, or a long magic blade, coming off of the dragon handle sword, and it cuts right in front of him. Fittich just stands there like a complete Chad. He doesn't even attempt to dodge because he knew it wasn't going to hit him, which I thought was hype. And then, you know, Dornoch steps in, tries to use impact, but then we have Sin again, you know, telling Percival to go on defensive, to kind of focus magic to defense, and he is able to nullify the vast majority of the impact. Now, Percival does still get blown back, which is weird because in this translation, Dornoch says he outmuscled him, but it's like, in my opinion, he kind of won that exchange because he blew him back. But that could be me, that could be me nitpicking on that. But I just thought that part was just a little weird. But from here, Fittich does take note that, you know, they're essentially back, you know, rejuvenated in terms of their spirits. Like, all their spirits are back raised. Plus, between Nansen's and Percival's magic, Donnie's forehead is more or less healed. So Fittich recognizes that, okay, like, they're back in high spirits. So he makes these hand signs, which I thought was a little cool touch to show that they have, you know, trained together, that they have their own secret things that they know. But Fittich does make the signs for them to go and start with the head. So while Percy, Annie, and Donnie and Nansen's all split up so they don't get caught all at once, they the Dark Talismans end up surrounding Sin, and that's where the chapter ends. So I believe that the Dark Talismans are going to attempt to take out Sin first before they go after everyone else, or at least try to prioritize Sin as a target. So this means that in the very near future, like these next couple chapters, we're going to have to get more info on Sin, because I don't believe that they can just beat them wholesale while protecting Sin in this form. Now, one thing that does kind of work in their favor, though, is that they do more or less understand how everyone's abilities work. so they can kind of counter them if they really want to. So for like say Bergie, like they understand her ability and they understand that Annie is a counter, so Annie can, you know, give them information on Bergie's ability. Now that Donnie has his awakening, he's much more of a threat to Elgin than he was previously. Just Elgin even attempting anything, he could throw Elgin like so far away he won't even be a factor. So they do have things in their favor that work out for them. Nansons does have his drug that he could potentially give to multiple people, though they will have to deal with the side effects. So they do have ways in-house that they can deal with everyone, but Fittage is the main problem here, like 100%. And then there also is still what I was talking about last chapter, where there is still the possibility that Sin could help them out, because I mean, we've been waiting for some Sin stuff for a long time now, especially with people now saying it could be Escanor, me saying it could be Lancelot, the ever-present thing of him being Bond. Like, there's just a lot of things that can come from seeing more of Sin, and the theories about Sin are fun. Like, I enjoy reading what people think about Sin, or just any differences that people have in terms of those theories. I always love seeing them. But all in all, I love this chapter a lot. I give it like an 8, maybe even an 8.5, just because Fittage was looking beastly. Like, Fittage dropped down immediately, taking out Percival, and would have taken out Donnie with just a rock. Like, Fittage is hype. But all of that aside, let me know what you guys think about the chapter down below and what you guys are rated, as well as what you guys think is going to happen next. Do tell me what you guys think about Hope, because I am very curious about like how different people have kind of interpreted what they think is going on when Percival uses that kind of ability, or if it's connected to him himself, hero type, you know, one of his magical items. Just I am curious to know what people think on that one. But that aside, make sure you guys like the videos or subscribe to the channel for more content coming up. I still have to make that Donnie video, which I am going to get around to. I am having bringing back the live stream, so I want you guys to be, you know, looking out for those. We're going back to our regular time. For anybody that's new, I am going to start live streaming on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. EST. It was a thing that I used to do, but I kind of got out of the habit of doing for like literally no reason, but it's coming back. So all that aside, you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you all in my next video. And I cannot wait to get out of this sun, because this is tearing my eyes up the entire video. But you guys have a good one, and I'll catch you later.